Film was never a stylistic choice, or at least not in the beginning. I learned how to take photos on film. It was all I knew about photography. I couldn't afford a digital camera. I didn't have a smartphone. The only way I could make photographs was to shoot on film with old hand-me-down film cameras. The first roll of film I ever shot, I developed myself in a darkroom in my high school. It was a roll of Tri-X, and it had pictures of my friends, trees, my house, cars, stairs. Anything that I could take a picture of, I took a picture of. Every one of those 36 frames was exposed, at least semi-properly. And then when I was done with that roll, my teacher showed me how to use chemicals to process the film, then to use that film in an enlarger to create a print. When I went on to college, I continued making prints. I continued using the darkroom in order to process my film. And it became a practice. Every time I had a project, every time I had personal work that I wanted to do, I had to go into that dark room. I had to put my hands in that dark bag. I had to pour the chemicals. I had to let the film dry, and then I had to enlarge it. Finally being able to afford a digital camera changed things for me in a couple different ways. But I never really changed the way I approached photography. It was very satisfying to get images back immediately, to be able to look at what you've just taken, and to kind of critique your work in real time, to adjust, to make changes, to try new things. But that ended up feeling stale. I still use digital photos. I still use digital cameras, and I enjoy them very much. I still use digital cameras for my work all the time. A lot of commercial work is just impractical on film these days. All the processes have changed. Clients want things right now. They want instant gratification, and as a result, so do most people, and so do a lot of photographers. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's never been anything wrong with that. But I started off slow. I started off with patience. I started with chemicals and a film substrate and an enlarger in a darkroom. With this project, I really wanted to process all this film myself. I considered sending all my film to a lab and having them do it and handle all the scans, but in the end, it felt like a cop-out. It felt like doing all this work to create something and then handing it off to someone else for the hard part. This project ended up being about 32 rolls of 120 and 35 millimeter combined. I knew processing that much film was going to take a while, and I wasn't wrong. It took me about a week to get all this film done. But there's a sense of ownership and kind of control from start to finish, from loading the film into the camera to scanning the film into your computer or enlarging it. There's a large, it's like this chain of custody. Like, I'm responsible for this start to finish, so I'm responsible for any triumphs or any failures. It's all on me. I've had people ask me if processing film is a chore, or if I feel like it it is a waste of time, or it takes too long, or it's boring. And it can be all of those things, but it doesn't really ever seem to be that way for me. Developing film at home has always been about unplugging and engaging in something creative and tangible that you can't walk away from. I can't walk away from this because it's timed and the temperature variance is specific. And if I walk away, I could ruin it. So I have to stay here. I have to pay attention to all the variables. I have to watch the clock. I have to watch the temperature. I have to be careful about pouring chemicals in and out. I have to do it in the correct order. I have to agitate, not too hard, not too vigorously, but also not too slow. And once you've done this so many times, you kind of feel if it's right. It feels right. The chemicals sloshing around in the tank, it feels a certain way, and you can tell if something has gone wrong because it feels different. The weight is consistent. You begin to understand that like all these steps are super important, and you kind of morph this whole process around your understanding of how it works and your own preferences. So over time, this process becomes uniquely yours. I'm sure my process is very similar to a lot of other film photographers, but I know that there are very specific little quirks and little things that I do here and there that are things that came out of trying to be more efficient or noticing something, wanting to fix it, or wanting to do something differently that I thought worked better. And that's the great thing about processing your own film at home. You are in control and you have the ability to experiment and find out what really works and apply it in real time. And then you get to see, after your negatives have dried, if your experiment worked out or if your process is working. I'm very, very comfortable developing film at home now. I've been doing it since I was in my teens. I just turned 35 this last weekend, March 20th. And as many years as I've been doing this, I don't ever think I'll stop. I'm pretty sure I'll be developing my film at home until I can't physically lift a tank anymore. Developing film at home, especially color negative film, it's so rewarding because color negative film is so forgiving. You can do a lot with it. You can push it and pull it physically. And once you pull that roll out of the tank and you look at it, it's every single time it's different. And it always kind of blows me away. It's really encouraging to see film photography making a comeback and being really popular with the younger generations now. And it's encouraging to see that film will be lasting much longer than I thought it would. Initially, when I first started getting into film, I thought that I was learning a dying craft, but it made a turnaround. And now we're in this new place where these wonderful companies are making new emulsions, new ways to shoot film, new types of film, new ways to scan and experiment. And it's just really exciting. And I really hope that the art of processing your own film at home doesn't die. And that's what this is for. That's why I'm here. That's why I made this channel, because I want people to really get into this and really experience kind of what I experience every time I process film at home. This video was sponsored by Film Supply Club.